Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
The understanding of the transmutation of the fields of the universe will become the new occupation of man. In a way, up to now, we looked into the skies to see the UFO. Mankind will look into the skies with the eye of the soul, not with the eye of the man. And universe and unicos is oyster. You got to understand that with a new understanding of the fields of the universe in motion, what we call energy, fields of the universe in the uniformity of the motion we call plasma, now has to be understood. Now has to be integrated into the structure of what we call life of the man in the space. We need to bring this change in, as now mankind has matured enough in numbers to be able to bring that burden of the change for the rest. You'll be amazed in the next few weeks and months how the drug traffickers will dump and try to make the dogs and the cats addict because they can't reach their bosses. And you do the same with your cat and dog, but just buy them ahead and put them on the line the hours that is transmitted. And we have set our system that there is no hacking. Now you have to understand how to bring the two fields of your soul, of physicality, you will call the spirit, and the soul of the man, to work together. That does not need the brain cell, but it works without it, the way you shall do when you become a passenger of the universe, as your brain in this amino acid cannot exist. We don't have a brain between the earth and the sun. It's got to be part of the knowledge of man in space that sooner or later mankind will come to understand that the totality of the knowledge shared belongs not only to man. It is the right of every citizen of this planet. And it's the right of all of us to have access to it. We don't make a game of it, we make a life of it. Keshe Foundation is set to bring that change to technology, and we will have many enemies. Those who want us not to be there, and how they can bring that condition for them not to be. Try to understand what the emotion is. Try to understand how you create that emotion. Try to understand in what condition of physicality you create the strength with the interaction of the field of the soul that gives you that emotion. And then go to your soul and create the same field of strength and interaction with the soul of physicality creates the same emotion. Then if you become mature to this, then it doesn't matter if the soul is the protector of the physicality or the physicality is protector of the soul. They work in a synchronized manner because they are both aware of everything. When you work in that strength, all the other souls and physicalities work on the same strength, then man shall not lie, man shall not cheat, man shall not kill, because I'm hungry, I need fields, and I'm given fields. It's got to be understood by majority of the people. And gradually, but all from the point of the first education, what it means to live with the soul, and what it means the existence of the spirit, or the dimension of physicality. Our children will be educated to the knowledge of the universe from birth, the way they inherited the X chromosome and became paralyzed and become all the diseases they caught. It's just the energy and emotion which has brought that change. So the same shall be when the man understands this as a childhood, within the fathers and mothers' energy fields that has no X chromosome or Y. When the children of the man are created from the fields of the soul of the man, man shall bring no imperfect child to this world. And that time has come. And that time is amongst us. And it's the time for us to bring it. In a coming time, in a very, very short time, as we are working in the background and development of technologies, as our team have to understand it, there'll be no room for vaccination. We transfer the energy of what we call the virus, which your body of dimension of physicality could be a virus on this planet, but on another planet or position in the universe is your food, to understand the transmutation from position to position. So you do come to the point that if you want to have a measles protection, you put your child this channel, this time allows this to be received as an energy. There'll be no ADHD, there will be no autism because of the mixture of the viruses and the injections of fake ways they do delivery to them. Now, gradually, your eyes opening up, the capability and the possibilities which is now is open to mankind. You go on channel 24 and you can have as much apple as you like, but you won't pull an apple, you won't kill an apple. You want to have a lamb, you go on channel 26, you get to taste the food and everything of it, and you don't need to slaughter an animal. Now you understand how extensive this will touch you, and how satellites are needed, because the electronic satellites have a limitation of physicality. We need the soul satellite, which is of the same and transmute the same and is there to give and to exist. I made man in the image of myself. Is our creator ADHD, or is he a drug addict? None. And so should be the man. Now the man has the mind. And this is the cornerstones of the teaching. This is the cornerstones of understanding the embodiment of the cosmic rays, the soul, the gases, and everything else which goes with it. What will be the next step for you to understand the strength of the cosmic rays? Which one you need, which one you don't need? How do you attract it to yourself, and how you reject some because you don't need it, even though they're on target? Very soon, once we start these systems to go public for you to tap into, you will tell us how you feel. You will tell us, today I didn't eat, not interested, because today I received what I need as energy through all the channels which is set up by Keshe Foundation. We govern the planet, not pieces of land. We govern through the soul and technology and knowledge, not by the gun policy and whatever sits with it. We need your support to be able to bring that change scientifically, correctly, and with the process and understanding of the whole lot, that we do not bring the change by wars, we bring change by love and creation of new country. I hope you understand what's on the table today and what is the part of the teaching. The main topic and the main objective of today is we do not need intermediaries. And nobody can protect the right of the Creator when themselves are abusers of the name of the Creator in the name of Ayatollah and the rest of it. I hope you understood the teaching of today. It has come to an end, and you understand scientifically why to the abuse of the man by the religion. Unless you enjoy an intermediary because you still think, I haven't found either, so I double in weaknesses of my own lack of understanding. Look to understand, try to find out the knowledge, and at the same time try to be precise, that you don't need another intermediate. You understand the knowledge that there is no need for intermediary anywhere in the universe. Always said, my message hasn't changed. It's for you to understand the mature truth. When I said to the professors at Gerta University in early 2012-13, when they wanted to send a student to the KF SSI, in which direction do you get your student to pray and bend when it's traveling the span of the universe and the earth is rotating and they're upside down and they're in a different part of the universe which rotates itself? Where do you find your God to pray to, unless your God is within you? Understanding the conduct. The message has not changed. And the technology and the knowledge has not changed. We just explain more of it and you understand it more freely.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 542nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 13th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in this weekly series of workshops that's been ongoing for over 10 years, continuous every week. And once again, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our guide and teacher through yet another workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. I hear you in the background. Are you ready to go?
Yes, good morning. Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers program from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. The topic of the teaching of today is the continuation of what we discussed last week about the magnetic fields, magnetic rays within the plasma, where up to now we considered the brain of the man in one section is responsible for emotions, and one section responsible for decision making, some in one section regarding the physicality, and the rest of it. Which section of the brain creates a movement in a finger, and which part of the brain is responsible for moving the heart and the rest of it. And which part of the system of the body of the man is responsible to create continuous regeneration of cells. In a way, as is, all these things exist within the plasma. Within the plasma, which is the fundamental plasma, or what you call the soul of the man, or whatever you want to call it, is the same characteristic. When, for example, the rays and the fields which are responsible for dynamism, for positioning certain plasmas within the structure of the, what we call fundamental plasma, motion of, direction of motion of, what to absorb, what to reject, which fields to take from the environment, in the body of the man is converted into what we call the part of the brain which is responsible for moving hands, the part of the brain which is responsible for feeding you, the part of the brain which is responsible to get rid of what it doesn't need in every shape or formation, part of the brain which is for emotion of laughter. So when the fields of the emotion of laughter, let's say, in the plasma as the direction of the soul of the man, comes to become to materialistic side, to find itself in a matter state, conformation of existence, does not matter if it's the brain of the man, or is a jelly type, or is a gaseous structure, at the end of it, converts that line as the emotion of, let's say, happiness, to a structure that can represent, can absorb, can identify, and can confirm happiness in the physical dimension. So that ray, which is strength of the happiness in the plasma of the structure of the soul of the man, when it comes in conversion into the brain of the man, to change into physicality to show the happiness of the man, converts to sound of laughter, change of facial structure, tears and crying, maybe rolling on the ground from laughter and joy. Then we understand that does not matter where you go. These characteristics as a joy, it'll be carried, and in that position of transmutation when you arrive, manifests itself as part of the structure of the control. So we understand that within the plasma, within the structure of the fundamental plasma, where combination of the fields and rays make that plasma, they have the same characteristic structure as what we see in the body of the man, in the brain of the man. So The body of the man in conversion knows where to go. You see in your dreams or when you transmute, but not convert to change of physicality, your grandma, she tells you a joke. She gives you food with the aroma and odor which you liked. Remember her cooking for you? Then this, when it comes through the dimension of the plasma fields and converts into the matter state, you feel, you taste, and say, oh, I had a dream of the grandma last night, and I had this soup and that taste and that odor. In fact, you use the conversion of the rays into the dimension of physicality. For this reason, man will find out that all plasmas have the same strength. Does not matter if in the strength of your physical condition, it becomes laughter by tickling, giggling, shouting, and crying from joy, and another creature from another part of the universe will feel the same joy through the same field of strength. It means the same. Then we understand how we do not need a physical matter to exist, to enjoy the existence in the universe, because whatever we see as the attributes of the physicality we enjoy, the sight, the sound, the smell, everything else, is within the structure of the plasma. And if this planetary system, this condition of the earth, would have allowed and had creation and the condition of the other field strengthens, we would have known other emotions, other senses, because there are more into emotions and senses and condition of understanding than what is available to the man today on this planet. This planet needs this to satisfy the life conversion. On another planet, there are no cows to eat. There is no grass to lie on. There is no sunrise and sunset that you can sit on the beach because there's no water. And then, but there are other joys. You cannot create this on another planet. But on that planet, there are other joys with a different strength that we do not know on this planet because we don't have the conditions of it. We don't have the feeling strength of it, but it's embedded, it's active within the soul of the plasma of that man, the fundamental plasma. The beauty of it is, it does not matter how many times you create a smaller or different or amalgamation of plasma, you come to the same. If this is hard for you to understand, it's very easy for you to test. Because it's more or less on a magnetic field strength. It's not on something else. Get a piece of magnet and cut it into pieces. The field strength does not change. Each piece has the behavior of the same. You cut it in 2 halves, 1/3 and 2/3, in 10 pieces of equal amount, in 10 pieces of half and 10 pieces of double, the field strength interaction is always the same. In matter state condition as the weight, you get attracted because you're lighter, but the field strength of the magnet does not change. And if we understand this, we understand the original plasma, the fields, which now creates the soul of the man, is another piece of magnet, which is cut from the bigger piece of magnet, which is the soul of the creator. It has the potential, it has all the fields within it to be, to create, to have interaction as the field of the creator. And once the scientist, once the man understands this, man has become the true citizens of the Unicos. I've made man in the image of myself because the soul of the man is part of me, carries all the information and all the knowledge. It's the man who has decided which part he wants to take to or for his benefit. Then you understand what it means in true essence, that each soul, does not matter of infant, does not matter of this road sweeper, a king, a president, a scientist, in the size of the soul, all have all the attributes the same. Is which one we develop more, which one we encourage more. We encourage the abusive, we encourage to be ruthless and to be as abusive as we are, and we call ourselves a king, a leader, because a just king cannot exist if he's just and correct, unless he chooses the path that in every condition and situation meets the attributes of the Creator. If you want to be that, to show the strength of the knowledge, you tap in and you become a scientist and the other part. But you still have the potential. You still have the, what we call a structure to become abusive and become a king. But that's what you convert in a matter state, in a physical life. But the soul does not change. You just tap into that part. That is strength that you think you can. And you're encouraged and monitored to be encouraged. Then we understand. All of us. This is what I said years and years ago. When you look from outside, no one knows if this is a soul of the sweeper, or a king, or a farmer, or a scientist. Because in essence it's the same. In what you take, the way you took from the fields to create the part of the brain, which became the physical manifestation and control of your arms, your legs, physical movement, man encourages that part of the fields which is within it to become. And then when he mixes it in the different way with the physical condition, you get the behavior of abusive. You get different kind of behaviors, because the behavior does not come from emotion. It comes from interaction of the physical dimension and the field interaction within the structure of the soul of the man. It comes as perfection. Then man uses the physical dimension how to abuse this for others. How to use to abuse the others. Then we understand. And it's become important for us to move to the next step, to recognize these field strengths within the structure of the plasma, the soul of the man, that the physicality has no dimension in it. You are in a space as a plasma, you come across another plasma. This plasma needs, it's like has got a SOS on it. I need this field to survive. It's the field strength which emanates, which creates for need. And you are the other plasma, you don't have physical dimension and shape. But as a fields, you feel, this I have, I don't need, or I have too much of, as a higher strength that you give. Then you understand how it works. In the scientific world, in the coming time, the way partially we have developed the technologies, we can measure these kind of emotions and see which part and where in the brain of the man operates in. In the coming time, we'll measure the field strength of the soul, which creates and carries these. And with these measurements, it's not anymore by meters, it's the essence of the emotion, how you feel, and how that feeling is. Can you communicate with the system? Can you communicate with the person? Can you read the option? And then you test yourself. In the past few days, something very strange happened, but not as strange as normal, that I just keep on testing. I was walking to an ATM machine outside the building. As I was going into the building to go to the machine, I knew, I had a sense that the machine's going to take my card. I said, but I've got to try it. I know it's going to happen. I want to know that the soul of this structure tells me. I walked in, I put the card in, blip, I had the card dropping in a box. And I said, I knew. It means I felt the emotion of even the machine compared to a human soul. I said this to somebody who was with me. I said, I knew. They said, why do you keep on doing this? You knew. Why did you? I said, it's just I wanted to see, I can feel the emotion, the essence of a machine, a mechanical system, which everybody says no soul. But I was aware of it. I went to another machine. The same thing happened before I go. I said, I knew this was going to happen again. And it happened again. Because we do not need the emotion, the soul of living things. We have to understand the soul of the structure of anything. This is why in the teaching of last week, I referred even the cup we produce in 1,000,000, it still has that soul. These ATM machines are produced in hundreds of thousands nowadays. It wasn't something special. This is where we have to understand that we open the line of communications with the structure, the physicality, and we understand this. I referred to this years ago when I went in front of a horse and I knew the horse. I said to the horse, I know you're here to take my life, but not this time. Not ready for it yet. And I know I fell off the horse, and everyone says, when you're stupid, you knew it. Why did you get on the horse? I just wanted to prove that I know better than the horse. My soul has a mission, has a way to live to complete. In 2010-11 was a horse. A few days ago was a what we call computerized electronic system, ATM machine. And this is how we should become. This is why people tell me, why do you let people do this? Because I say, I know they have to show their own weaknesses. They have to show their own problem, not me. Recognition of the emotion, irrespective of the time, place, position, and entity, has to become part of the nature of the man. And don't forget, as you feel the emotion, they feel yours. It's not a one-way traffic. There is no superiority. It's just knowing to understand the parity in the whole structure. Then we move to the next step. In understanding, in transmutation, I want to go, this is my emotion, I want to be in a warm place, I want to be at this position, I want to be near to the love of my child. I'm in London, he's in another part of the world. I move, I feel, I touch. I don't need to physically manifest myself to the child. But at points you decide, I have to be there out till they decide they want to be in. It's the same as 20 years. You never had a dream of the mother who died 20 years ago, but you do today because you create that field. You touch the strength field that the mother field has been. Up to now, you've been messing around with everything else except the true fields which connects to the mother. You need this, as I said, in a space to know this field has no arms, no legs, but I know, I feel its existence. Is it going to take from me, or is it going to give to me? What have I created to give, and what indication I show that I want to take because this is what I need? In the scientific world of today, we call it magna position. Why do you get a position in a certain position? Because you give enough to what the community needs from you, and you take what you need from the community of the fields which are you're within, and that gives you the balance. And once man understands this, man comes to the next step of knowledge and technology, which means, how do I move this plasma? Up to today, no scientist has ever explained how the Earth rotates scientifically. Why, in the world of the man, we create motors to create rotation, where we don't need to. Is there a motor rotating the Earth? Is there a motor rotating the sun? Is there a motor rotating the whole galaxies? Is there a motor rotating the universe? Man has not understood the mechanism of the motion in the existence of the creation. As I said many times to knowledge seekers, so as long as you're happy with the motor, I give the motor. And we get channeling to make as many as you like and get selling. But doesn't answer if any of you worked with these motors, you understand at certain strength the motor stops and the ball still goes if the motor friction doesn't stop it. There's a limitation of the fields and the mechanical strength, because that's a matter state. In the plasma state, like the sun, you don't need a motor. How does the creation of the motion, in essence, through condition of the plasma is created? Why do we need huge amount of magnets to create a speed of the plasma in CERN to accelerate it to neutron stars? Fields across the universe go millions of times faster, but we don't see any motors because man has not understood the essence, the field strength within the plasma, which creates that motion, which is the motion, a forward motion, a rotational motion. Why do all planetary systems rotate? And if we say we are made in the image of man, in the image of creator, in the image of a dog or a whatever, or a star, does the creator rotate the same? Is the soul of the creator a Sufi? And then we have to understand how. What is the cause of the rotation, and what rotation and what the speed in which angle and what the strength gives you certain directional motion and emotion in a given time, place, and position. What is the mass and what is the weight? The mass, which is the connection of the soul of the man with the creator, never changes. The weight is the manifestation of that plasma on earth in the shape of a man, in the water in the shape of a fish, on a mountain in the shape of whatever, and in another planet, another. So manifestation of physicality is the same as the weight of the man, where in essence the soul, the mass, never changes, because it's that magnet which is the same cut from a piece of the soul of the creator and never changes in strength, attributes, and beauty. Now, our scientists have to find out how to create that rotation. As I said, we go back to the very first teachings 10 years ago. Has anyone seen a rocket propulsion? Has anyone seen wings? Has anyone seen turbine engines on Earth? I think we have moved far enough to take a picture of it. None. But how does it rotate 1,600 kilometers an hour? Man has not found this, because if man would have found this principle, man would have made a perpetual system to produce energy as you do with the dams and wind and everything else to run the turbine. If man one day understand the power of the plasma, rotation of the plasma, and dimension and direction of the plasma, man will create such a plasma turbines that creates billions of kilowatts. You don't need to stick a matchbox in the middle of the sea and put a fan on top of it and call it whatever. Or to create a black patch on the ground and call it the solar cell. We will show this technology in Iran. In a conference in Iran, we'll show for the first time the motion created perpetually in the universe, which leads to the motion, and depending on how you angle it, creates lift, it creates weightlessness according to the position and time, and it creates as much energy as possible. Don't forget, the first system ever registered by the company in Belgium with the support of the Keshe Foundation at that time in 2000 and whatever, it says gravitational and power system. The power sits within the gravity, within the field. And that field creates its emotion and motion. In the coming time, in the system which is getting developed by the Keshe Foundation, we have no control system but by the emotion. You want to move a craft, you think about moving it, you interact with the soul of the system, and system moves. Reduces weight, increases weight. It plays the game of the soul, it plays the game of emotion. And this is what, as knowledge seekers, you have to understand. Now you understand when I tell you the time of playing with ganses and all that is finished. We still play with it because it's nice. But does it stand? Does it, in any shape or form, brings us to the point that we have not understood the principle of the rotation and life in the universe, which replicates the life of the Creator. Now we have managed, we have gained knowledge to bring that position of attracting the fields of the Creator to create within the attraction of it the soul of the entity. This is one of the most advanced technologies the man can never and could never imagine. And now it's within the grasp of the man. We bring all fields of the creation to create the soul of that system, which is the replication of the soul of the Creator. Otherwise, cannot exist. Otherwise, it doesn't have the strength and combination to exist in this environment, which is controlled, given, looked after by the soul of the Creator. Then we understand how much the technology has moved. The technology of understanding the technique of the universal motion, technology of the creation, technology of the science that man today has a problem to understand. And because he doesn't understand, he's created prophets and all the prophecies that those who call themselves the whatever of the prophets are there to abuse. Technological advance, the technological advancements for the man today, if man understands, has reached a point to understand how to get in touch, to be at the strength of the soul of the Creator, that one feels is beauty within. And you don't need to die to do. There is no day of judgment. It's the day of the maturity of understanding the process, the technology of the creation. And that technology today is in the hand of the man and within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. How our knowledge seekers understand is how they will transfer this back to governments and within the structure of the world peace, within the grasp of the man. If we would have shown this technology 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, man would have said, oh, is a magician, is this, is that. Now that we have taught, we've shown you the strength of the field of the matter state in gases and the rest, now you understand how easy it is to learn the rest. But to release the technology, to learn the rest, needs is the cornerstone of his, what I call deliverance, completion, is the world leaders agree to peace. No more war. Because if this technology falls in the hand of the wrong man, there shall be no life for humanity and no life on this planet and the rest of it in the universe. Because man is too greedy and he wants everything. As I said, even he makes a king to go on a pink trousers and God knows what to come to beg for it. As we saw with the King of Belgium in 2013 and 12 in Belgium. And does every crooked things to get the hands on it, because they knew, they understood what is the power of this technology. It's the technology of the creation, not Keshe Foundation. We are teachers and not messengers. And once you understand, you can replicate it. Does not need systems. It needs the maturity of understanding the process of creation. And every man, every animal has the capability to understand it. Does not matter from this planet or anywhere else. Now you understand how the essence of the conformation comes to, how the energies of the Creator transfers to, and how the word I made man in the image of myself converts the energy of the Creator to manifestation of the man in time and position, depending on the environmental condition. In the environment of the womb of a black woman in Africa, the child becomes black. In the condition of the womb of the mother in Australia becomes another, and in the north with Swedish becomes blonde. But the structure of the physicality within it is all the same. A woman in Sweden does not create a child with no kidneys. It's just, as they say, how long you keep it in the oven depends how color and how much it gets cooked. And what strength you put on it. Short term, high energy, you burn the color, you have it roasted. You keep it low, it's the same, it's no difference. Why we turn black and white? But in essence, we all have the same structure. As I said, in different positions and conditions, we manifest ourselves different, but in essence, it's the same. The same as the child in the womb of the mother in Africa, and the same the one in Sweden. One is black and one is blonde, because the blonde one with the white skin needs that to survive. It's a different, it's on the moon, it's another universe. And the one in the black, it needs that because in Africa, it needs it to survive. We look, but we don't understand. But in essence, we see the transmutation. We see the conversion. We see the evolution, but we never understood. Is there any difference in the physical structure of the womb of a woman in Sweden than a woman in Africa? Except the field strength which they produce according to the environment they live. And according to the way it has been structured to do. So is there any difference in the life if you were on Earth or another creature in another position and dimension? It's just the different fields, different womb of the fields of the creation of the planetary system. And if our scientists understand this, and if our scientists create a condition of the woman in Sweden can give birth to a black child, as we've seen can happen, because there is ancestral thing, and a blonde blue eyes in Africa in a womb of a black woman. Because that tiny single egg of the partner came from the field, the strength of the white man. Created a different field of strength. If that little tiny sperm has the strength to change the field strength of the woman in Africa and create a blonde child, and a white woman in Sweden to create a black child because in this ancestral line, field strength was a black, then you understand man has not even understood the process of the creation and how the fields interact. And we call it on chromosomes, genes, and the rest of it. You wear the genes on your leg, not on your brain, not on understanding of the technology of the creation. Soon we will show this in the coming time as we progress rapidly for the confirmation and delivery of the technologies. Now that we have engaged in what we call in the larger scales of distribution of the knowledge and technology, mankind will leap and hype in such a speed in the coming months and years that will not recognize what man has achieved in past thousands of years. And I wonder if they marvel how stupid we've been to create such a mayhem. Try to understand a few pieces of the teaching of today, and if you unravel it, you have unraveled the secrets of the creation and the freedom of your soul and for everlasting life. Then you can test if you can become that black child in a womb of what we call Swedish woman, and a white child in a womb of woman, without the egg, without the sperm, by transfer of the soul of the energy, by transfer the way we create matters, you create the fields in the structure. And if you understand this, then you understand how the children of Mitra shall be born. As they are independent of the emotion of the physicality of belonging, but they are aware and control and understand the process of the field instruction of the universe and Unicause and the Creator. If man knew in what and such a glorious day he lives today on this planet, with the presence of the children of Mitra, man will understand the time of peace has come for his physical condition. I wonder how many of you and your offsprings gain the knowledge to create children of the soul, and then how those children shall be. What features would they have? What behavior would they have? How would you recognize your child is a child of the soul in the womb of the mother, without and before the birth? The technology of the creation is the right of every living things in the universe, and is not the exclusivity of man. Unless man is so arrogant that it is himself as exclusivity of the Creator, which means he has become further from it than closer to it. If you understood the principle of the conversion from the field strength, ray strength, to physical matter condition strength, then you have understood the transmutation, the process of transmission by the field strength and conversion to the matter state by the physical matter manifestation. Teaching of today is short, but so deep that I hope it'll take you as knowledge seekers and the rest of the men for thousands of years to unravel. Hundreds of years is not enough, because it's so deep. If you understood, and then you understand it in the essence of its truth, you have found a way to path to your Creator, even today. We go for a break and we come back, and we can ask any question and discuss to understand more about the depth of the knowledge today has been shared with you. Rick, if you'd like to take us to a break, and we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. This is the 542nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 13th, and we'll be back in a few minutes for the second part of the show. And I'll remind folks that are attendees in our Zoom that you have the opportunity to ask questions, and you can raise your virtual hand so we can acknowledge you and open your microphone. And you can also post questions in the chats or Q&A. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, back again at the 542nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And we're in the second half. And generally, Mr. Keshe has something to say before we engage in the Q&A part of things. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe, if there's something you'd like to bring up.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. There's one thing, we just go back again regarding the Iranian conference, the conference in Isfahan. Some of you have found problems in transferring the money to pay for it. The only way to do it is when you go on the website, make the booking, and just send us the reference number for the booking and the payment for it. You don't need to do anything else. Usually it's like you buy products, we receive an email, and you put the reference number, KF, whatever, and you don't need to state anything else. That it does not create you problems, because some knowledge seekers had a problem to do this. So you don't need to mention, just go on a booking and you just reference purchase number or donation number or whatever, blah, 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 which is given to you on what you call it, on your order. Doesn't matter what you pay, or PayPal banking system, electronic system, just put reference that, and then we know it's for the conference in Iraq. Please complete this by the end of this month. As I said, we will close. And the situation developing that we have to sooner or later stop any registration with the Keshe Foundation for the conference in Iraq. There's a lot of things on move, and a lot of things are moving positively for this to be one of the most successful conferences in Iran, even in the history of science of Iran and technology. Not just because it's a Keshe Foundation, it's just because new science will be shown. And as we saw, and I referred to it in a part of the teaching, the first time gravitational and energy system will be shown in a full working condition, and this will change things from the day we'll show in public. And I hope knowledge seekers are there to be witness to it, as you've been around with us, seeing every steps of its development and understanding by us. It is, and it will be a pleasure to share it with many governments. Part of this technology in the coming hours will be shown, in the coming days and weeks will be shown to some of the world leading scientists that we prepare the condition for Iran conference. And we wish you as knowledge seekers to be with us such a long time, to be with us in Iran to celebrate the what we call achievement of man and process of peace by new technology. On the other hand, as we said in the past few weeks, we are ready to move with a full transmutation and transportation system, maybe partially both, in conjunction with the other in Isfahan, and they're following in Washington, and tried to show the rapid growth in structure of the science and technology. If there are any questions, we answer, and we'll see where we go.
Okay, thank you. We've got two hands up here with Ivan and Ed. Ivan, you have let us know you would like to talk, and please go ahead.
Hello guys, do you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, cool. Good day to everyone. Good day, Mr. Keshe. I'm Ivan from Bulgaria. We spoke like 3 workshops before regarding the body field and the central field. So I was doing some practicing, as you said that I need to practice. And I have very specific questions, but I think it would be better if I share some experience for everybody on the call to understand. Otherwise, it will be like in the dark and it will be just between me and you. So can I go in a little bit details?
Depends what you want to tell us.
I can share some experience in what I found in the field and then what I was able to achieve. And then I wish to ask you how to go a little bit further.
Carry on.
So in the last workshop, you said that I need to accumulate a field of lower straight in order to achieve hard position, and that I need 0 time to go in the field and not spend my time. So I decided that you said that meditation, this is like very matter level interaction. So when I went into the field the next time, I decided to jump straight to the field and not go through the meditation and the nervous system. And it really worked. So thank you for that. It saved me a lot of time to try to concentrate. It's much better to go directly in the field. So at first I didn't understand what you said. And I was not sure where to find this lower straight. So I decided that maybe it is in the outer side, just over the skin of my body, because I was thinking that there is the lower straight. So I went in that field, and very strangely there I find memories. Like it was exploration. I find memories that when I was a kid, and they were just there sitting and just came to me when I went into that field. And in this thing, I understand that I'm in a wrong place, and I'm actually doing exploration and not manipulation. Because you said that I have to manipulate the field. And it makes a lot of sense because I cannot control it. It has certain position within the body according to the field state that it is. So I can observe it if I go in the nervous system and the matter level, but I cannot order it what to do because it is there, because there is the position. So in order to move, I have to create a different state in a different place. So it came to me 10 years ago. You showed the gravitational system where you achieve the gravitational lift. And you said that the fields need time to accumulate in the system. So I decided to go directly to the brain, to the soul, and increase the gravitational field of the soul, because a general is not a general without an army. And even if I try to scream, if the fields are not near, they will not hear me, even if they want to listen to me. So I went directly to the brain and I decided to increase the gravitational field. And strangely enough, it goes in a cycle. So I'm able to pull, and then suddenly I don't feel the pull anymore, but it continues pulling. And it's like energy waves through the body, like in periods. So after around 3 hours and 40 minutes, something like that, something very strange happened. Like I felt like very huge impulse within the center of the body from the left side to the right side. And it was like my body split in two, and I felt a new heartbeat just where my liver is under it, like a huge heartbeat, like it started pulsating like crazy. And it was connected with the right side of my brain, my palm, and my leg. So now when I go into the field, I feel it much more intense than I did before. And my question is, if I want to achieve this transmutation, because in the gravitational system, you show that the new plasma is actually in the middle, so should be around the chest area. Should I feel that same impulse and the new heartbeat within my chest area if I'm on a way to transmute and achieve higher position, like you said it?
Each one of us feels this in different ways and depends on the, what do you call it, condition of the body and how you the beauty with what we call soul of physicality, which you need for this, is that the soul of the man position is fixed. That cannot change. It's in the center of the brain and is trapped in that cage. But the soul of physicality is dynamic. And it depends on how you bring this central force to where and what you expect and you want to create from it or with it. The position is not necessarily the heart. You can bring it to be on the condition of the, what we call, another part of the body of the man. There is a lot of indication that we carry that energy somewhere between our head and neck or the upper chest. Sometimes depends on the strength. You call it near the heart, but not necessarily in the heart. And how you control this in the matter state of physicality of man will create different emotions, they create different conditions for the soul to expand or the soul to be confined within the physicality. You have to decide. In a way, if you call it, this chakra hasn't got a fixed position. It can take any position, which is the soul of physicality. And then how you use it, you interact with it, and how you apply it or take advantage of
it. In a way, I was doing it on random. I just increased the gravitational state of the brain, and with the hope that I will collect enough fields so it can position itself somewhere where it is needed in the body. So I'm not sure, should I increase the gravitational field around?
There is a technique which we use it, but even I think our people don't understand it in our headphone sessions and the new medical structure of the technologies which will come in the future, which creates dynamism and a strength field for the soul. Our knowledge seekers, our scientists have not understood this part of the technology. Creation of the rotation and then the rotation, how to expand or move the strength of the soul. This is one of the biggest hurdles. And then it's you who decide where you're going to interact with it with the soul of physicality. And the throat, and the lung, and the heart, and the stomach. There is no fixed position and a fixed strength. And anyone can achieve this. So you have to dig a bit deeper to understand the knowledge. Then you understand there is no pattern to it. You decide a pattern, place, and position.
I can rotate it. I can do the rotation. It's just.
You mean the rotation of the soul, or expansion of the soul?
Because the two part of the brains, they're doing kind of rotation. I can rotate the field in whatever way I want to rotate them, and it is different feeling of interaction in the body. It's just that I'm not sure how I should interact, and because when I collect, I don't rotate them. I just pull from the environment, and if I rotate them, I have different interaction within.
Yeah, but we're talking about the rotation of the speed of the soul, and not the soul of physicality, because that will dictate in so many ways the rotation of the fields outside.
Oh, so it's not the brain, it's in the middle, it's the soul.
It's the soul. Yeah.
Oh.
Otherwise people who go dizzy can do it, you know. It is indirectly, but in a way, Sufis have not understood, but they feel part of it. Yeah. There is a scientific reason. If you understand that the soul of the man is within the brain of the man, the Sufis, by rotating as they do, can create a change in the structure of the soul, in emotion and everything else. You don't, in a way, soul is physically standing, but it's like tokamak. You move the magnetic fields around it. You understand?
It's exactly how it felt when
the speed of the rotation of the soul has different purposes. Yeah. Carry on.
This moving of the field is exactly what I felt after 3 hours when I achieved this strong impulse from the left to the right. It was almost like a separation, that it went from the left side to the right side, and I felt this heartbeat in the liver area just down. It's exactly the moving of the field. It was mostly like separation, like a system got energized.
You have to understand how you create it. You have to understand. You have to understand how you do it. Once you understand it, you have cracked the process of conflict. Then you can lock into the universal languages, as I call.
I think I just put enough fields so they create, like you said, when they're enough, they come in circle and they create a new field. Like it stays for itself and have a heartbeat. Like when two rays are interacting with each other and create a circle. I was thinking that I did this when I pulled with the brain more fields in, and then just the environment got very dense and it was nowhere to go but to create a new position. I was thinking that I did that. But now I'm not sure.
Try and go deeper. Try to understand the principle. Try to understand the principle, not just trying to do it. Understand the principle, then doing it becomes very easy.
Yeah, it's always like this. When you get the principle, it gets easy. After 10 years.
Yeah. Partially, let's say, for example, with Naomi, we saw the building of the brain over months. You can actually build the brain of any condition doesn't matter what part is missing, within hours, if you understand the process. You understand?
Mm.
You take the whole brain structure of the man out, and I can move the man without any brain, because the field instruction is there. The shape of our skull decides our emotion and our interaction, and then our features. And I've said that many times before. But once that skull is produced, you can manifest the emotion and the feature of the man, and not necessarily its physical manifestation. When I see this scientific developments, that they give a skull to the scientists, and with computer programs or whatever, they say what shape and how the man will look or would have looked. You give me the same skull, I'll create a soul which shows the true man how he looked in physical condition. Because that skull, once it was created, carries a specific field of strength, which is like you mix two kind of drink, you always get the same taste, because you have created a condition for it. If you mix Coca-Cola with Fanta, each different time the same amount, you don't get, God knows, pineapple taste. You get the same taste all the time. And the skull of the man dictates that, how the soul, the position of the soul, how the physicality is. We see that with Chinese. The position of their eyes is totally contributed to the shape of their skull, which then interact with the soul, and that creates certain behavior, certain features. When we look at the skull of the different, what we call, type of men in the past tens of thousands of years, as we see this and that, and this has succeeded to overtake the other one. Why have they? What does that shape of a skull gives advantage that can, or have found a solution to overcome the others? We have not we just look at the physicality, but if you understand this process, we can replicate anything. You give me a skull, I'll give you the shape of the man and even the man. Because we can create the same as creating the soul in the womb of the mother to give birth to a child. This time when we create the soul in the center of the skull, the shape is already taken, the bone structure is already set. It's not magic. Then it's the same, how you take shape.
This was partly of what I was thinking, that if I actually have like a pain somewhere in the leg that is on chronic, it is not the pain in the leg, but should be somewhere in the soul. So if I put enough energy and I pull into the soul and fix the condition there, the pain in the leg should disappear directly because it's connected.
Yes, but we don't want to. On the other hand, remember there is a balance of energy. Why is there and what causes it? Are we preventing it? Are we preventing it? Are we creating it?
In the past, this comes to what you said in the previous workshop, that if the world leaders go in their soul, they should find some, it will be very difficult for them, because when I created that condition, I tapped in the magnetic field that gave me like a huge sadness for something that I had experienced, and I had to deal with that magnetic field before I can go further.
You see, if you came to Linz and you went into the Obesos or use any of our systems, our knowledge seekers have not even understood this. In one of the systems in Obesos, which were in Linz, we had a left side and a right side originally, which mimicked the left side and right side of the brain. But if you, and then I knew in which system you could, what you could ask and what you could create. In the system on the left, you could not do the things you could do on the right. And this process, if it's understood even by our knowledge seekers, will bring in a new game. The biggest problem we have, for example, in Keshe Foundation, in use of the headphones, is that our team have not understood the work. And when we do, it will be magic. We can go as fast as people understand. And this is part of what you just mentioned. We can create a dimension in the strength of the soul with the headphones that it moves the position of the soul of physicality to create a perfect physical condition. If you understand what this means. This is what I said for the years. Through the soul, you can feed the physicality, but when you feed the physicality, you dictate the soul of physicality's performance too. We cannot go to that phase in the Keshe Foundation wellness centers, because everybody will go in, will come out perfect, and then that'll become the biggest problem for the Keshe Foundation. We let our scientists to understand why they cannot achieve. I can show you the flight system today with what we have, but then they become a magic, then it's just copycatting. But it has to be understood that in the future generation, man understands the totality by the soul of the man. It takes 1 minute to regenerate a lost part of a brain, because the fields are there. How long does it take you, depending on the temperature of the freezer, to make an ice cube out of the water? Not much, if you have the right temperature. Instantaneous. Manifestation of physicality in the solid state. It's the same with the brain of man. It takes 1 minute. You take the brain out totally, I give you all the actions of the man with a full brain. We've done this. It was done in 2011, 2012 in Belgium. A woman with no brain, literally cut off due to cancer tumors, flat from above the eyebrows, was flat as anything. The whole skin was pulled, because not only the skull, but the brain was taken out. Both doctors didn't understand that time. They didn't touch the soul. Otherwise, the lady would have died. And she was in bed. She was brought to us in a wheelchair. And within a few days, I got her to walk. And we videoed it. It's not a miracle. It's understanding that hair on top of the, what you call the head, is not limitation for the fields. We still created dome above, on top of the head, as there was no brain, but we created a field of strength as the brain was there. So through that direction and dimension, through the soul, we could create the confirmation of the energy of the soul in the dimension of physicality to get the physical body moving. And when the lady went back on the bed, says, I wish I moved. I said, you already moved. We had to show her the video that she went for a walk. And when she came to me, she said, my only wish before I is to walk. And I granted the wish. And she walked. and it's video.
You know, I'm waiting for the July transformation workshops. I will come to Italy to join it.
We go through a different process. Those who come in July, August, and September session, they'll have a most pleasurable time of their lives. And we're going
I
to
will
accept
come.
very limited. We're going to accept very limited people because at the moment there's too much noise, or we break up the groups into small groups that it can be done, that we can achieve. The small sessions, small groups, not so much noise that we can get the souls, we can get the expansion done, and then we can expand the souls very rapidly in this time, because we use very advanced technologies. The what do you call it? The fields will be very high. It has to meet, and we have to deliver.
I really wish to join this group. Maybe all of them.
When we announce it, when we announce it, session by session, you can join it. Because we realize with this group of 70, 80 people is too many people fall asleep, too many. We try to segment it for a shorter time, maybe 1 or 2 days, and we do in a small group that people can achieve transmutation.
Mm-hmm.
We have
That
to
will
finish
be very
the June
interesting.
session. So it'll be an amazing sessions in the next 3 months. But we have to make the knowledge seekers ready for the conference in Iran. Our flight system to zero magnetic field is ready. I can show it to you tomorrow, but our scientists are not ready to understand to do it.
I'm more interested in the transmutation. This system is not really interesting.
It's a shortcut, but you have to train the soul.
Mm.
But it'll be done in the July, August, September sessions. Will be one of the most amazing sessions Keshe Foundation is around. We prepare, because when we come to Iran, when we come to Washington, we have to show tens of people the capability to do. And this is important. It's not 1 or 2 anymore. Any other question? I'm sure.
Thank you very much for the talk. I will try to practice further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a hand up from Ed, but before we go there, let's get one of the questions from YouTube from Peng Peter, which is somewhat related. Are plasma cars mini UFOs? If so, will they come in different shapes and models when it comes to the sales of transportation?
Not really. There are little miniature systems localized in a way. We saw that as I said before, as we have tested, as I said to you, we are testing with live, what they call conditions. We've seen that already with the soul of a fish. As I said before, this shows us actually completion of the transmutation and how things will take shape in the coming time, especially for those of you who go through these fields of the transmutation. And that is in a near future, once partially our knowledge seekers, our scientists have to understand this to expand it further, is that we have reached the point and we have shown it, and it has come to what do you call, how can I put it up? How can I explain it? Give me 1 second, I'll explain, and maybe some of you understand. Just 1 minute. Sorry about that. It's taking just a few more seconds. This, if our people understand and knowledge seekers understand what this means, a lot of you will move in a different direction. Trying to, I cannot read the system, unfortunately. Let me see if we can establish a different line, because it's understanding the process of creation and control of the fields, even at the soul level. It is important for the future, what we call expansion of what we call the soul of the man. And this will create new dimensions in what we call the process of transmutation and transportation, and how we assess our works and we develop our technologies. Somehow I cannot log into the system that I can show you something to explain this. Our system does not allow certain things. Okay, maybe I can get in now. Okay. What is important, this is what I was trying to explain, and I've mentioned this before, is that whiteboard. There we are. If you've had an animal like a fish, you notice that the fishes, to go from the bottom of a tank or bottom of the sea up, they travel that way. When a fish is converted, the fishes we tried and the ones we already keep, and are in that kind of environment, our fishes go up and down in the left, which means the energy of the physicality does not count anymore. We'll see this as part of the characteristics of the children in the womb of the mother when we see the soul, children who are created by the soul of the mother. And this characteristic will, in so many ways, will manifests itself in these kind of processes, these kind of understanding of a system, of what we call development of the soul. To our scientists, it's amazing how can, but if you understood how you have managed to teach the soul to be in control, this kind of processes, this kind of achieving the soul should be absolutely no problem. Should be absolutely not a single problem to do, which means in a way we know when the soul is ready for transmutation, when it's matured, when the what we call the point of manifestation. And then we can assess the next step.
Excuse
we
me,
can
Mr.
decide
Keshe.
on our system.
We lost
Yes.
the whiteboard there. Did you want to keep that up, please? Or
Yes, I was the internet. No, it's okay. I cannot reach it. I have a problem in reaching it, so we left it. But that's what I wanted to show. In a way, our parameters in the future is what do you call it? Is the soul ready? And what I showed you as a what they call graph, it shows to us, yes, the soul is ready to go. The soul is ready to transmute because we've seen it, we have watched it, we have monitored it, and is capable to. And we see this in the time to come. It's the question mark for many of man scientists in the future will be, do we need to keep a child within the womb of the mother 9 months when children of the soul are created? Would the physicality will take that long to mature? Or can we have the sale? Can we have the what do you call the mother even let's say in the time mother dies by accident, you have a soul of a child within the womb of the mother. Would the child survive? Because we have created the soul and we can maintain the soul. And the answer is yes. And then if you understand this in a coming time, you will understand as the children of the soul are created, they're perfect in every shape or form. And we won't have children of man created in the dimension of the soul with any imperfection. They'll all be perfect in every sense, because then they use the dimension and direction of the field, the strength of the rays and the fields within the plasma of the solar to create a perfect physicality. And this is what we need to understand. And this is where we come to the point to be able to mature, to understand the knowledge and the point of creation. Because if you understand this is how you transmute your that soul, infant soul in the soul in the womb of the mother, but you're in the womb of the universe. How do you give yourself physicality? At both points. But the soul of a created soul in the womb of the mother needs to gather maturity, but is mature in its infancy, its point of conception. irrespective of how long it'll take to confirm the physicality. And this is what I said, the children of the man born in the depth of the universe, in the interaction of the fields by other entities we fall in love with, will not have a physical shape unless they decide, and they can manifest in any dimension in the universe. Man will see this in the coming time. This is part of the inevitability of development of the man knowledge to become man of universe and man of space. We saw man went to Africa and he went to America and he fell in love with the Red Indians, and we saw the children of the white man and the Red Indians and the black man and the Red Indians. It will be the same for man in the space. We are lovers. We love to love, and that emotion is within the structure of the soul of the man because of the love of the Mitra, which shown that it was an essence, it was an emotion which had to be created to show what love means. What's real the strength within the structure of the soul is love. And what is created is the benefit of the whole creation. And part of the structure of transmutation is like the way I said with the fish. We had to train the fish to be able to. We have part of you knowledge seekers who come into these monthly sessions are reaching that point. That vertical position, that's how you travel out of your body. And it's part of the teaching when it comes very, very fast. As I said before, to our other knowledge seeker, those of you who go through the process of June, July, August, September, I won't wait in there for you to feel. I create the condition that you feel. And those of you say, I felt nothing, God help you, how much you can block. And we create a new man out of every man who goes through these processes. And you will understand what that new means. There's a lot of detachment, a lot of understanding of the process of the creation. Do we need by September or by next March to Washington transmute you, or do we transfer you, or you need the air ticket? Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let's get to Ed here as an attendee. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Ed from Indiana.
Good morning.
I would just like to ask, back to your teaching this morning, the transfer from the energy state into the matter state. Is it simply a matter of the balance of the fields that is specific to a certain environment?
99%. But environment is different way of explaining it. As I said, the skull of the man creates that environment for the shape and the size and dimension of the brain. In the environment of this planet, the size and color, the shape and the size of the man. You understand?
Yes.
What environment? Of course it does. The soul of the man, in interaction with the skull, with the calcium, creates a complicated structure of the soul, and which manifests itself in physicality, and you see with the turn and twist and the shape of the brain. The same soul in interaction with the fields, in the different strength with the environment, decides the shape of the man. Tall, short, brown, yellow, whatever. The same, you change another dimension, it will decide the soul of the humanity, because then is all the souls interacting together. And then the same is all the souls of the living things on this planet with the interaction with you. They have a collective soul. We know this, we understand this, we've seen it, but never comprehended it fully. How the fishes decide their numbers because of the lack of the food, how birds decide how to lay eggs collectively that they can support the life because there is a lack of food or too much of food. How animals move to a different position. This all comes from interaction of the social destructive soul of the environment, which collectively they live. How do the fishes move from one point of the planet? They grow from egg to what they call it, a fish, and move across the other side of the planet to give their souls and physicality to other animals to survive. But we say, oh, when it comes to the immigration, the birds are ready for the salmon to come. This is looking at the physical condition. But the soul of that animal knows this is it, and it will become continuation of life for the others. We, what do you call it, glorify it with Christ gave his soul for humanity and for blah blah. That fish, which is in South Atlantic, ends up in North Atlantic and ends up in other places for salmon fish in Canada or whatever, has already made that sacrifice through the cycle. But we always look at the physical condition of it. So it is. It just depends on what scale you want to look at it.
So,
Any other?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the course of your answer, it took me, it kind of dealt with a different aspect of this, but like you say, the environment changes and the fish has to move from one place to another, and that's part of the interaction, and the fish understands, and it does. But is it possible that the fish could have stayed in the same place if it had changed instead of moved? Was that just a decision of the soul?
It depends. We have a different explanations for this depending on our point of view, but looking at it as a scientific point of view, no. It has done. It is part of collective awareness, collective work.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other?
There's a viral story going around about a doctor in the UK who found a fish lying in the grass in his backyard, a live goldfish, and there are no ponds anywhere near, apparently. And this story has gone viral in the last couple of days. And he took it inside. He thought it was dead at first, but it started flapping. He took it inside and brought it back to life or whatever. And he thinks it was like seconds from death. And it started to swim around, and he's going to keep it as a pet. Called it Alice. So not sure where it came from still.
It depends where it came from. Exactly, where did it come from?
Yeah, it's still a mystery.
The fish we transmuted, it wasn't a goldfish. The fish we transmuted, it wasn't a goldfish. So it can't be ours.
You mentioned that before, that if you had a drop of water, you could create the fish.
Pardon?
Didn't you say that if you had a drop of water, you could create the fish? Something like that. Didn't you say that?
We are still in that path. We have created a condition, and it's just developing the technology. Our people have to understand. I have a very bad habit. I leave till understood to the next step. And don't sit there and just, oh, this is it, that's next step. 2 or 3 years ago, I explained the process, and we spent time on it for it to be understood, but seen, but not comprehended. And after 2 years, come back to it. This is what we did. Now you see the result. The spoon feeding does not work. Understanding brings the maturity. And we're in that process. Any other question?
Okay, we have a couple of hands up here, but before we get to those, I'd like to get a question in from Mark from last week. He had a couple of questions. One of them is that you indicated that only a few minutes of our sleep time is spent dreaming. And at one point you asked us to consider what the soul is doing during the balance of the sleep time, visiting near to the Creator. Is there any more of this puzzle you'd like to share with us?
A giraffe sleeps 30 minutes a day. And some time in this 30 minutes is in 20 segments, which means he only sleeps 1.5 minutes at a time. And it stays, and the rest of his time aware of his environment. If you capture a giraffe in that 1.5 minutes, as a lion, you got him. And somehow the lions and the other animals who hunt giraffe know this 1.5 minutes through the strength of the soul. They become aware what this 1.5 minutes looks like in a physical condition, that the animal is vulnerable for attack. So man does not need the 8 hours of sleep. Man can recuperate within seconds. And then that few seconds, would it allow the man to dream? Or is it going to be used for instantaneous switch on recovery of the whole body of the man with the field of the soul? Then, if you understood this, I think you have found the answer in your question. And if you're not, you still sleep for 8 hours. And you select which part you remember of the interaction of the fields. There is something very interesting for knowledge seekers to understand, and that is, just because you sit in the car and you're driving, you're not going nowhere. You're on the way to somewhere. It's the same as with the sleep and the dream. Just because you say, I didn't dream, but I had this dream, but the rest of the time I had nothing. You do not know the strength of your dream. You're not aware of the strength of where your soul has been or is going to be. And this is part of what I call, if understood, the process of the creation. You think you are aware of what you call a dream. But whereas the other, let's say, out of 8 hours, the 7 hours and 59 minutes means, are you on the way to somewhere? Or soul doesn't need to be always somewhere to confirm it's going somewhere or doing something. And this is the, what I call part of the process of the creation. And the sooner we understand this, the sooner we can move on. We don't have all the time to be doing, going so, being, remembering things. This all is a witness to the dimension of the work of the universe. Does not need to be every second involved partaking in something. Any other?
Mark had a second question I'd like to get in as well, which is when we're reading a book like a novel or a fantasy book, is that a type, is that practice a type of transmutation?
Can you repeat it?
When we read a novel or a fantasy book, is that practice a sort of a type of transmutation?
I don't know.
Well, we kind of imagine ourselves or visualize ourselves being in a different place through the words that we're reading. So he's thinking that's a type of
No, it depends how
transmutation.
you read the book, doesn't it? Do you become part of the book, or do you actually read the book because somebody's written it? Do you see yourself as part of the play, as we call it? Then you create a role for yourself, or you see yourself as one of the ones which is in. Don't think so, but it all depends on the individual, doesn't it?
Yes, it would.
Transmutation is a very, very strange and strong position, because once you learn it, you can achieve a lot with it. You can tap into the knowledge of the universe if you know how to handle it, because you need it. You arrive at the point of destination in the universe. Sorry, there are no universities, there are no colleges, but in the essence of the soul of the planet or a position in the universe will be transferred to you through the dimension of the field, because that's your boom. You get the whole knowledge of caboodle in that point of position. In a way, you have no choice. It's you who's got to decide which body you're going to take. And then we make these decisions. And we become part of the scenery. This is why, and I said this before many times, I said those who go into the Oviso units, whatever they tell us, we accept, because we were not the traveler of the soul. Maybe you understand now why. 2-3 years down the line, now you understand why we said that at that time. The biggest problem for our people, research and the others, is to understand how motion is created without systems, but by fields. And once the scientists understand this, they understand the creation of current, which creates that flow. If you retranslate or explain in the motion of the fields, current as a direction of motion, not condition of the position, and not the speed of the, what do you call it, motion, then the whole world of the science of plasma technology changes, and it becomes a reality of how it is in the universe. Then people understand why some neutron stars rotate so fast and some planetary systems are so slow. What causes it? This knowledge we've had, and we confirmed it in Iran in 2008. But the present knowledge seekers have to understand it, that it unravels the secret of creation. And then transmutation and transportation, and even deciding when you dream or when you transmute becomes as easy as ABC. Systems to help man to transmute, once delivered by Keshe Foundation, it will be as fast as you click of a finger. And this is what I said, the government will have a problem with this technology, because then they have there's no governing. You can't buy this through the soul of the man. And that's the function of the Keshe Foundation. Because we know that structure, we don't know the structure of borders and gun policy. Love policy is much easier than gun policy, and we use that way. Any other?
Did you say glove policy instead of gun policy? Is that what you said? Oh, love.
Love.
Okay.
It's easier. Loving and sharing and giving is much easier than killing.
It should be a mandatory policy with all the governments. Love policy.
The situation now will open up in the next few months. You understand this very, very, very fully. I mean, the world will realize how things will turn up upside down and what's going to be the situation with the elections of the European community last Saturday. It'll be amazing what will come out in the next few weeks, and what tensions we see, and who stands on the grounds of the love, the care, the race, and the rest of it. The far right has won huge majority in the parliament, and they will carry on. If they carry on their policies, we will see, not very far, but under the ground, under the fire, types of the second one. What happened to the Jews and the rest. And we don't need to get to that point, but if the far right, what they've taken in the elections, will open a huge part of this where the love policy comes, then the gun policy, because they're turning the gun inside back on themselves. And you'll understand it. Ukraine situation has brought this about in the West Europe. And now they have found the ground to do what they wanted to do for decades. Controlling through Berlin. And not through national consensus. We'll see this very soon.
Fried had a question that you mentioned the soul of nations recently. Can the soul of Palestine be healed collectively, as well as the soul of Israel and USA, and how?
This is part of another structure which a man will learn. We had this all the time. It's not just now. We always had this. And now we see step by step unraveling of these things. And step by step how nation looks at. I have a different point of view about the Palestine and what even though I hurt the Palestinians, but as in Palestine, why is in this position? They brought it down to themselves in so many ways. If you look at the other side of the coin, if you go back to the history, the situation in Palestine would have been resolved in 1970s, but now 50 years on the line, we're still in a bigger mess than before. There was a point in the early 70s, this situation would have been resolved. But late 70s, it reversed. And that, you call it in the language, bad omen. What you do, you receive because you create so much hurt to so many souls. Palestinians did it to themselves. And that has to come. And then now we see it in the reversal of it, Israel. And I'm sure in the next few months we'll see some of this in Western Europe. Tightening of the immigration policies will bring worse condition than situation in Palestine for millions of people in Europe in the next few months. We have to watch and see how it will come about. And yes, the soul of the nations, it becomes the soul of the man, and how you interact with it will change. I was in a talk with some politicians in the past few hours, and I explained very simply, they issued a warrant for, what do you call it, Israeli Prime Minister, and then by game later on for the Minister of Defense. But who's feeding this fire? Israelis don't have enough bombs to do, they are given. So what happens to Biden? Then we've seen in the past few hours, literally, Biden has said, we will not stop supporting and killing till the, what do you call it, hostages called are released. 100 hostages compared to nearly 10, 15, 20,000 hostages in prisons in Israel. But we don't talk about it. And we see how the nations pay for their behavior. This nation comes through the school of thoughts, not by the birth of the rights. But by birth of the rights, some people pay for the conduct that the other souls collect. I had a very interesting experience recently. I was in an environment that a Jewish family had been near to me in a confined space. And me looking, whatever, Middle Eastern, whatever, because I heard them speaking Hebrew, they did not know how to handle themselves if this guy's a Palestinian Arab was going to do something or whatever. And when I left, I said to them, Shalom. And you should have seen the shame in their face. We create that condition for ourselves. And with it, those who are within it, when it suits them, they show their color. What will happen to Palestine? What will happen to Israel? And most of all, would there be in a state of United States, even the people running it are in question at the moment. And those people who are running are very much in a deep problem with it. I'll read you and understand this very, very clearly. This is from one of those who will run or set up to run. It reads, this is from the higher ranking people from the American administration. There is an expected political meltdown here, and there may be a caretaker government with committees. I have been appointed to oversee the transition of the division of the United States. This is what the communication reads. Would we have, if this process goes through, the United States? And would it be the soul of the nations, or say from soul of the states? Would we see the division of what we saw within India and Pakistan? People moving across the nation to be on one part. And why the leaders of a nation have already started the process of setting up structures, committees, and groups to run their nation. And this comes from people who are right on top of the American government. Then what is the soul? Is the soul splitting to what it is, or what it is, or is the same with Israel? As I said many times before, when you sit in our position, the information from all angles of governments comes in, and we see different angles than the people's. Would there be a state of Palestine? Would there be a state of Israel? Would there be a state of United States and the others? So we all become one state on the planet Earth and under one condition. Is how we look after and how we set up things and how is perceived to be set up and how we promote some to benefit ourselves and some we cover some to not to be there. It's part of the. It's not easy to sit where I sit as the Keshe Foundation. Science and using time, having the science and technology, you become part of the political scene as advisors and those who they consult with you. And what do you see and what takes shape? And sometimes you see different things in different angles and how we want to promote what we want to promote. And you see different policies and different things. It's like when we spoke about China and how the government takes the steps for people not to do the crime, than building the prisons to put the criminals in it, which is a pattern of the West. In the West, we fight with governments and drivers fight to create bicycle lane, as if you've been to Europe. Any street they get, and now we have more pavement, what do you call it, roads, which are bicycle roads, and even they cut from other pieces, they put cyclists in more danger just because to follow the order. Okay, we have bicycle lanes. But how many of you know that in China there's a blind line? Have you ever heard of it? And do you know how much it serves, but never spoken? And if the Western European American governments try to implement this, what difference will make to the blind or disabled? You never heard of it. I'm sure 99% of you don't even know it exists. If you walk on the streets of Beijing or wherever, on the pavements, you see, even in the airport, when you land in China, you see on the tiles on the street, the straight line pavement, the pavement, let's say if it's 5 bricks or 5 tiles, 2 tile is got continuous pieces of like 20 centimeter straight line next to each other in 2 bricks. Most of it's 2 bricks. And when it comes to a junction or when it comes to a bus stop, this changes to like 20 or 25 dots. This is for the blind. The blind don't need to ask anyone where they are going and if they're straight, it's come to a junction and waiting for help. The government has foreseen this and has built over decades blind, what do you call it, pavements for all the cities. You don't need to ask anyone. You don't need to be in danger. You don't need to become in danger for somebody to kill you, to go to prison because nobody was there to help you. The government has foreseen this. You walk on the streets of Beijing on the pavement and just watch. You see continuously the strips of 20 centimeter tiles, a straight line, 5 parallel, what do you call it, tile. A blind just ticks, knows this is still going straight. When it comes to a junction, when it comes to a bus stop, or you have to go around the tree, because if you're a blind, you can walk into a tree or a lamppost, they change it to these little dots, which means you have to follow the dots. There is a change. You never heard of it. We try to ask our Chinese friends to post it, because when I was in Beijing and traveled around China, it brought me this puzzle. If you go to, you enter, what do you call it, airports in China, you see that in front of every lift, there is a tile with all the dots on it, or the strips on it. Stop. There is a door. There is a point you have to do. Understand what's going on. We don't have this for the blind. And never ever been promoted anywhere as one of the beautiful things in China. And we're still fighting for the bicycles, where the blind can run over, have to beg people to carry them. A blind man can start from one end of Beijing to another, just following the dots and the straight lines on the pavement. And tiles built for it is not something they attach. They build tiles as part of the structure of the road, airports, everything, that a blind man doesn't need help and cannot create accident with other people's involved. It's how we build the society. And how we prevent to allow the soul of the nation to be at peace. And then that creates a... You go and ask your council in London, we want a blind line on the street, they tell you get lost. Show them the pictures from the streets of Beijing, Shanghai, and the rest, and then you understand how far backwards in serving a nation we are in the West. Any other question?
Yes, we have some hands up here with Marin and Gerta. Marin, would you like to go first, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning to anybody. I'm becoming a regular client, so I don't have a prize at yet. So my question is, when in some conditions, some hours, we can, or by practice later on, we can, by the emotion, affinity, desire of the soul, being in contact of another entity. In a way, it's emotion and soul expansion. I'm reading it. And so you may call it instant communication, zero communication, but in fact, in a way, it's kind of transmutation of the soul's field. Because, so is it kind of transmutation that we can bring other entities with ourselves?
I cannot hear you clearly. Can you repeat?
I cannot. Pardon, you want me to tell it again?
Yeah, can you repeat? I have a problem with my internet today. I cannot.
Yes, pardon, thank you. Good for me. With like during years, I've noticed I can at first with some practices or some conditions or physical or time conditions, we can be in constant instant connection with some fields, and it shows in my face, in my smile, in my I cry. I feel it when the person, entity is here. So in a way, because Ivan was talking about brain and things like that, in a way, it's kind of transmutation, maybe, or a zero-time communication, because in a way, it's created by the love desire of communicating to that person, to that entity, which it's there with us. So it's against soul expansion. Is it kind of transmutation also?
It is. I mean, it's part of it. Depends. You don't need to go somewhere. You can expand the soul, and where you are, create that condition of contact or interaction.
In a way,
we do that all the time. Yeah, this is not transmutation. Is when you go somewhere, physically you go, but if you expand the soul or dimension of even not expanding the soul, but at the strength of the soul, you come in touch with another soul, another field to show a reaction. You don't need to. Sometimes we call it a daydreaming.
No, it's not daydreaming. It's directed.
No. It is, some people give a name of daydreaming because this is what it is. It looks like dream, but in a way something makes you smile. You feel the field. It's just like we dream, but in a dream, our soul is in contact.
Yes. So the second question, if it's finished, is I just thought about the soul. You said the soul, there are some souls who have trust. Wherever they are, they know how to manage. And sometimes these souls, these bodies are in places which are toxic. They are asked to be in places 12, which is toxic. And in toxic places, the soul of physicality is affected. They make wrong decisions. They make sabotage action. So I wanted to ask, when the person comes out of that situation, does this soul is affected also? That trusting soul can be affected and in the space make wrong decisions?
Yes, because you work on what you receive or what you perceive.
Even
and
the
how
soul
they
of the
make you to perceive.
affected.
Yes, it's very. I can give you an example. In the past few months, we've seen this. In past year, I've seen it 3 or 4 times by one person. But it's not the way that we see it, and there's not the way that their action is actually to the benefit of the foundation. We've seen this by one person, especially in past 12 months, maybe less, 3 or 4 times. And they go and touch other knowledge seekers deliberately. They've been in toxic environment themselves to change them to their benefit. But what they did actually brought more benefit to us, because in a way the soul serves the work of the humanity. One day I explain this. How action of certain knowledge seekers deliberately being in a position to be toxic or themselves, or they create that condition, has brought so much, in a way, growth to the foundation. You come back with this question in 12 months' time, I might even give you the name, you understand?
So this matter of Palestine is lost already because they have been too
in so
much
many
in
ways.
Huh?
You see, you go back on Palestine. Palestinians were not in such a disaster condition till they start taking blood money. And many Palestinians, because they benefited by it, are going through the process of what they did some years ago. So it's the way we see it, and it's the way it has taken shape. One day we have to explain how Palestinians got to this, even before and after. We see a lot of suffering, but you have to understand how they followed leaders who set up for these devious actions.
But at the end, the
One
justice of God.
It looks like a problem, but on the other hand, is a lot of things mixed up together to be what it is.
In a way, at the end, the justice of God, divine justice, will prevail.
It has prevailed. We just don't see it.
Yes.
We have seen it. And I can go back to 1979 and tell you exactly how Palestinians changed everything for themselves.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of their own thing which returns back to them.
Yeah, balance of the souls.
Thank you very much. Blessings.
For those of you who do not know the history of Palestine, prior to 1979, Iran revolution uprising, and after and during and the year after and the following, one day I'll tell you the story of the why the Palestinians have turned their souls back themselves by the conduct, and the rest pay for it. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Next, we have Gerta here as one of our attendees. If you could open your microphone and go ahead, please, Gerta. Okay, we're not getting a response there, Gerta. You have to open your mic. I can try to unmute you and see what happens here. Hello? Okay, we're still not hearing anything, so we'll have to pass on that. Okay, we have Anne-Marie. Oh, you want to...
No, it's just that if you're going to go long, if you let me know.
Okay, we've got Anne-Marie and Jalal here as a couple of other hands up. We have a number of questions in the Q&A, but I don't think we're going to be able to get through a whole dozen of them. Anne-Marie, go ahead, please.
She's not unmuted. She's not in the panelist.
Well, yes. There. She's just unmuted. Go ahead. Yes,
Hallo?
We hear you.
Hi, Mario. Hallo, kannst du übersetzen? Hallo, Mr. Keshe.
Hello, we need a translation.
Mario. Ja, Mario. Andreas, hallo. Ich habe eine Frage. Bei mir im Ort, ich bin in einem ganz kleinen Dorf in Oberösterreich zu Hause, aber es stehen jetzt auf einem Parkplatz, auf einem großen Parkplatz, ich denke 1000 Militär-LKW, komplett neue Militärlastwagen, die jetzt produziert wurden. Ich denke, es sind über 1000, man kann das gar nicht zählen. Und die fahren jetzt in die ganze Welt, glaube ich, hinaus. Am Anfang habe ich gedacht, ich habe Panik und Angst. Aber ich habe dann gedacht, wir müssen ein Tor aufmachen, wo die von diesem Parkplatz rausfahren, dass wir das Tor mit ganz viel guter Energie füllen, wo diese LKW durchfahren, damit die nicht großen Schaden machen können. Andreas, kannst du das übersetzen, bitte? Weißt du, was ich meine, Andreas?
Andreas may not be able to get out of his. Are you able to say anything, Andreas? Can I see you? You're not as translator right now, so we should be able to hear you.
And Andreas? Jetzt, ja.
I think he's trying.
He's on translation side.
He's on both right now.
He cannot come out.
For some reason we can't hear him.
No, he switched his microphone off. He's on the interpreters on recording. Is anybody else who can translate in German?
Maybe I can try in English.
Go ahead.
Okay. Soll ich? I'm in a little town in Austria, and there is a big parking place. And on this parking place, there are maybe 1,000 cars.
I lost you with 1,000. 1,000 cars.
1,000 cars. What's the name? Trucks. Not cars, it's trucks for military. They will go in I think in the whole of Europe. And so first I think I'm very sad for this. And then I think I could put energy to this place, or you will know we need some guns. Can I spray guns on this parking place or to this door when the what's the name, trucks go out? Then they must go through this gun store. Maybe you have an answer for me, Mr. Keshe.
Why not? Why not?
And which one of guns can I spray?
Just the is not which one, is the soul and the emotion and the wish you put into it. You understand?
Okay. Yeah. Then I hope all.
You choose any. Are these 1,000 already parked in, or is it the empty car park?
Yes. All. Yes.
All full.
It's parked only, and then they go to Germany. The next days, all days come new, and all days go to Germany. It's stop only here for parking for a few days, and then they go to the next place. But it's 1,000 cars. New, I don't know what is military cars.
There are two things. Military usually have a summer exercises in Europe, mainly in Germany. And on the other hand, there is huge amount of hardware is moving into Ukraine through Germany. It can be any, but there's usually summertime, this time, June, July, larger scale military exercises are put on, especially starting in July, and they all meet from all over the world, all over Europe. In July this year is very much locked in for one of the biggest exercises military. And it could be possible, but the size, there's a lot of hardware that's going into Ukraine from different sides. Very recently, I was in one of the Eastern Bloc countries a few weeks ago, and we see a continuous military line going into Ukraine. So it's, if this were an exercise, wish them all the best, and if it's there to kill more people, maybe your wish and the chances will bring that change to the soldiers.
I wish all people, they hear this, they can send also the good energy to this.
Which part of Austria are they in?
Upper Austria.
Where? I live in Upper Austria.
Yeah.
Where?
Feuerbach. It's near Wels, near Linz. Near Linz. It's
yeah.
40 minutes far from
Linz. Yeah.
Linz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of cars, a lot of military trucks, and they're absolute new. The new make this.
These new vehicles are majority going into Ukraine. But on the other hand, this year July is for a very large military exercise in Germany. Always is. Usually July is a time for this. But not to this scale, because I know huge number of military hardware moves even from England into Germany this time. Every year around June, July. But not at this scale. We're talking 50, 100 vehicles. Thank you very much. And I hope it's for good purposes.
And
I hope to keep some young people busy for the summertime.
Thank you.
And it's not for anything else. Any other question?
Yes, we have quite a few questions here, depending on how far you want to go with it, Mr. Keshe. See.
Where is Jalal before he has to run away?
Oh, he's coming and going, and he's gone right now, so he will probably be back. We have Carl with the hand up. Maybe we can hear from him, and we have 13 questions in our Q&A to try to plow through a few of those, perhaps, if you're up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll start at 6 o'clock. It was 15.
Hello, Carl. Go ahead.
What happened? Who's checked 1-1?
This is Carl checking in from Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia. Yeah, good to be with you, Mr. Keshe. A special shout out to the Legends of Linz. Amazing the work coming from the team there. And I just got to say hello to Raphael and the transcripts he's putting out. I hope knowledge seekers are subscribing to that work that's being put out, because some of the summaries there reveal so much more than what I think I understand from these teachings every week. So it's great that those resources are there. Mr. Keshe, really interested in your conversation with Ivan recently. He's been asking some good questions, and I'm kind of going back to the last time I spoke to you, and it sounded like Ivan's actually been on the Friday session, something that I'm not fortunate enough to be involved in, but coming from someone outside of the cosmic ray connections, you said last time that the way to connect with your soul is to move down the fields, is easier to do that. And when you were talking with Ivan, he sort of summarized that meditation's not the way to do that. Connecting in with the fields is what you've advised. So that leaves people in my sort of situation in a difficult place, because for me, meditation has been incredible in terms of activating my pineal gland and trying to connect in with the energies that surround. So from that perspective, how do you try and connect in with the fields and connect to the lower levels? For me, I was thinking it would be going into an alpha state of meditation.
Meditation is to do with the physical body, and it's easier to go through the soul. The meditation is all to do with the physical dimension. If you understand how to work with the fields, energies within the center of the body, you don't need to push the physical body. Many people who have been through the processes with the Keshe Foundation in Lens or whatever, they say what it used to take me 2-3 hours or an hour to get to this point in meditation, I just get so fast. And we had tens of times from people who are expert and do a lot of meditation. When they go through the system, they say that it takes me so long to get to this point in my meditation. With this, I go just naturally, very fast. Again, goes back to, do you move the mountain or do you move Muhammad? And it's easier to move the man than a mountain. And the soul is so powerful that you don't need to go through the physical position to allow its field to be shown, if you know how to go into it. You don't need meditation to do. We are used to it because we go through the back door, through the physical dimension. But if, let's say, meditation brings you to a certain point, you have to bring a lot of physical condition to a position to get to it. If you expand the soul, you're immediately where you wanted to get to by the physical condition. And that's where the difference is. And those many hundreds of maybe people I've spoken with over years, they say with this, the process we show, it's easier to get to the point where they try to do it for half an hour, whatever, in meditation. So it's the same, but in a different way. Instead of going from the bottom up, you go from the top to bottom.
So is a way to hack this to meditate as we drift off to sleep, and as our soul starts to activate during deep sleep, some way to forge our way towards the lower fields you're talking about?
It's not lower fields, maybe it's a stronger field. We go by the strength. It's how you open that Pandora box every time. What key you use and what method you use, but it's the same thing in the same Pandora box all the time. And this is how it needs understanding, and that how meditation brings you in the dimension of the position where you get actually in the sleep time and dream time prior or around that time, gives you that freedom. But this time you think you have control of it, at least you can get to the point of whatever you like to be at that point. Comfort, pleasure, nowhere, whatever. You can do that with the dimension of the inner energy, what we call the soul, immediately. With the understanding how to do it. The secret we have not shown, the position we have not shown, and I don't think mankind is ready for it, but is the creation of motion of the soul. Up to now, what we thought we do with all the systems we use, headphones and everything else, you more or less, you're living, or you've been using, or you have access to a static dynamic system. where we need to use a dynamic system if you understand both in physical motion and field motion. And then that's where the beauty starts. That's where the world of creation comes in. And that's a piece I have not put in to the structure. And some of you, if you look at the videos I released years ago from weight reduction in Belgium, where we start, I think it's about 9 kilos, we come to 3 kilos or whatever. I show it in there, but because you're not knowledgeable, you don't see it, you don't understand it. And I laugh many times. I used to look at it. What are they going to see? It's like that liquid in the, what do you call it, the Coca-Cola bottle, they call it the Keshe cans, what do you call it, magic liquid or whatever. And all of us have that capability to expand the soul instantaneously. But we don't know the technique. We don't know the way we're created is part of our creation. We've forgotten how to do it. And those who can create different dimension of physicality to hide it, not to show it, or they don't understand it, but it happens. It's the same with the soul. It's the same with meditation. What you take point to get to that point of meditation where you feel safe, you're there where you want to be, it can be created actually within the cocoon of the soul of the man, expansion of the physicality. The expansion of soul of physicality, it brings so much protection, you feel good with it, and you're there what you want. And when you get to that point, you come in touch with the openness of the universe. We will, as I said, in July, August, we will bring this to the front. We'll most probably open the channels for it next week, or next Thursday, that you can register for it. But it'll be in a small groups. We tell you what groups, what hour, and how long. It won't be long sessions because it can bring you a lot of, what do you call it? We can bring a lot of you into a fast transmutation, and even what you do as a soul. It's a very, very, it's just that we have to prepare our lab for it, an environment for it, that you all can come in and can have as many people, as few as possible, but manageable team together. We most probably divide it into Chinese timeline, Central European timeline, and then American line time, that we catch everybody awake. Because you need to be awake to go through this position. It can't be that you're half asleep. And you will see the beauty of it. I'll change the course of humanity in reaching the soul in the next few months. And then you understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
I think Ivan has a hand up again here that he mentioned he says he can share how he does it. The key is your your intention to do so, nothing more. You control and go where the intention goes. Is that did you want to speak, Ivan? His microphone is not showing up right now, so perhaps not.
Okay.
Oh, there
Can
you
hear
are.
me, guys?
Yes,
I'm
we hear you now.
It was just a question, so I can share some light where what I do. So I have this Garmin device on my hand that is a watch. So the first time when I did it, it's just your intention to do so. You have to understand that, at least I understand it, that when I move my hand, the only reason that my hand is moving because I have the intention to move my hand. And it's a direct communication from each part of the body. It moves because your intention is there to move, so you move the field. And The only reason that you're not able to move the fields around you because you don't know that they're there. So once you, like example, decide to say to the intention, okay, pull the fields inside my brain and just pull. So I even think that I understood the process of breathing a little bit different because when I breathe in, I'm actually taking the fields in my body. And when I breathe out, I do not breathe them out. I take them deeper. So it pushes the field to go from inside out. So I imagine that in my head that I'm just pulling the things deeper and deeper. And once you understand that this is real and it's actually happening and you're not imagining it, you can do whatever you want with your intention. At least it's what I do. And it's very interesting. This Garmin device, the watch on my hand, actually showed me that I was in 2 hours of deep sleep and I was not sleeping. I was very concentrated to try to control and go in the different field state. But just because the body is not moving and the heartbeat is very down, or I don't know how exactly it measured it, it showed deep sleep, but I was not sleeping at all. So the key that I do it is with my intention to do it, nothing more. I just have to concentrate and keep the intention on what I want to go or where I want to do. And to experience it with knowing that whatever I experience, it's okay, not to put a block, because in the previous workshop, Mr. Keshe told me that it's me who is blocking it. So I try not to block it and just accept whatever it comes. And that's
Thank you
it.
very much. Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Those of you who joined us in July, August, and September session, make sure your phone is exactly the way we tell you on the left or the right. We had this before, we took it off, but in the sessions of June, July, August, make sure your headphone is exactly connected the way we tell you, left to the left, right to the right, and which one is our left and which one is your left. And then we go through the process. Any other question?
Okay, there was a question about from Jonathan in the chat here about when doctors transmit cosmic rays to the headsets to balance the fields of people with Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or other neurological illness, what happens to the causative toxins like lead, mercury, aluminum, and spike proteins that have built up in various parts of the brain? How are they eradicated? And he has a second. Okay,
we don't touch those.
Has the same question when transmuting. Does transmutation provide an opportunity for the body to let go of accumulated toxins?
Maybe I can explain to you something in a different way. In plasma world of what we call contamination, we always said, I had a long discussion with the Italian scientists from Nuclear Center and Contamination Center years ago. We do not destroy the radiation source. We use the radiation to become the energy for use. This is a very big difference. It's the same with the material contaminating the brain. We don't get rid of the aluminum, whatever they say it's in the brain, but we use the energy of it. Instead of interfering with the current flow in the brain to create energies for the rest of the body. And this is totally different thing, understanding different thing. Because in a lot of cases, when we go into the high level nuclear, especially radiation contamination, the detectors detect the radioactive material, but we don't see the signs of the radiation or radiation damage. is a knowledge which we don't have. The plants do this with nitrogen. It's a natural process if you understand how to trigger it. So these contaminations in the brain, they say, comes because of the aluminum and whatever. You don't destroy it, you still see it, but it doesn't have the connection which it had, which caused the damage. And we don't expel it out of the body. If you understand this, you understand it's a different knowledge and technology altogether. We saw this time in the test we did in Fukushima fire station in Fukushima during when Yukaku went there and we were doing the test, because you're looking at other things, we're looking at other things as if this is nuclear structure. You can use these materials as a source of energy. It's like you put a fertilizer. The fertilizer doesn't give us all energy in one go to the ground. Slowly releases it. You use the radioactive material or the contaminated material in the body has become a source of energy, but it's isolated. You decide where it goes. And so, yes, it can be done. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let's work on some of the questions in their Q&A here. Let's see. Start out with Leo Mar from the Brazilian community. There's a couple of questions. In the first question, in the process of transmutation, when a man transmutes from his country of origin or to another galaxy, for example, from Brazil to China, I appear there as a Chinese man. My physiognomy has totally changed, but when I return to Brazil, will I have the same physiognomy as I've had before, so that my family will still recognize me?
What does that mean?
When he goes to China and comes back, will he be the same so that everybody will still recognize who he is?
Yeah. Yes, he won't change.
Okay, let's keep it at quick, short answers here, and we'll get through more questions, perhaps. The second question is, how can plasma technology explain lupus disease in women? Can it be reversed?
Lupus disease is the one which creates a butterfly in the face. Usually they call it the butterfly disease. And it can be helped, but it's very hard. It's very, very drastic, very extreme ADHD, but more HD, attention deficiency. People put tattoos to get attention. If I'm correct, if you're talking about the same condition, which we see like a butterfly is known on their forehead, on their eye area. And this is why you do this, to get attention. I need attention. When I have it there marked in my face, you can't miss me. And this usually works with the partners. Abusive relationship. And once they get hooked on it, they will not let it go. And it's always everybody else's fault except theirs. And it's always their victim. And they convince their partner that they are the victim. They convince their family they are the victim. Very interesting. Very, very interesting condition. ADHD is active, moves to get attention. Locus doesn't need, because the action sits right in front of it. If you go on the internet, you can dig it out, you can see what I mean. It's known, if we're talking about the same disease, is known as a butterfly disease by psychologists. Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you go on the internet and look for it, if
okay.
you're talking about the same diseases condition, it's known as a butterfly. They create a shape of a butterfly between the nose and the eyes and the upper cheek.
So you want
If you're talking about
lupus?
this, yeah, if you bring it, it's one of the signs of it. If you're talking about the same disease. And yes, there is a solution for it, but no, there is no solution for it, because they keep on changing the goalposts. Any other question?
Okay, let's pass on the lupus there for now. Let's see, where are we here? From Antonio, Mr. Keshe, thank you for the teaching today. My question is, if we cannot attend the Iranian conference, will we still see the flight system later, or is this for the people who attend only?
It's for those who attend only, and it depends what the Iranian government and military decides to be shown. This is an international conference with a lot of implication worldwide. And depends what will be decided. As you know, we don't let nothing to be transmitted out of the conferences. We don't allow nobody to use telephones or mobile phones, and we don't record any of the conferences. And Iran will be no different. But again, we are going to Iran to show technology, and is for world population to see. But then I'm sure our knowledge seekers will expand on it when they go on what they see and what they've seen. We're still in the process of setting it out and developing it, and we got plenty of time. But we have to see what's the directions from Iran, and how much is going to be shown and what's going to be shown to what extent. But Left and Motion will be the primary show. I actually talked to one of my friends in Iran and said if they don't mind bringing 1.20 meters by 1.60 meters Iranian handmade carpet that we can put the system on, then you see what they call a flying rug, a flying carpet. It'll be very interesting. But we'll see how we'll show it. There is in Iran, some decades ago, half a century plus ago, we had a public bath which was running, it's been going on for centuries with one candle. And it was always hot boiling water with one candle. And nobody knew how this was made. And the British got in there a few decades ago, as usual being in those days, and they destroyed it. trying to find out. We might unravel that in Iran during our stay to reignite that, what we call public bath. It's a swimming pool. They call it the public bath. With one candle, we can switch on and heat up a swimming pool. The scientists who made it understood the knowledge of the creation. And now we have access to it. We might show it. Any other question?
Okay, there's a question from Paulo. It's put a couple of times in our Q&A here. I'm not quite clear, but I'll read it and see if it makes sense to you. If it is not the essence of emotion responsible for bad behavior, but rather the interactions of physicality, so in this action of bad behavior, there is no movement of the man's soul, since motion is emotion?
Come again?
Doesn't make sense to you either. There's
No.
something not right with the
It's
translation there.
Yeah, it's a riddle. Okay, give me one more question and then we call it a day.
Okay.
Give me now nearly 3.5 hours.
Okay, from Lawrence. He always has some good questions. He says, does the soul of the man work like the reactor described on the Keshe Wiki on the page about the simple guide for producing ganses of tritium? There is a reactor setup displayed with H2 GANs in the center, which changes to H1 or H3 GANs depending on the magnetic field configurations around it. The change is each 1 neutron. Does a small change in fields have a similar effect on the soul of the man? Is each neutron created by the soul of the man a child of the soul of the man? Are the headphones an analogy of this reactor setup?
In a way, yes. In a way, in a very long, twisted, bended way, yes. But it needs understanding of it. Shall we call it a day?
Yes, I think we've done double, triple overtime today. So thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And hopefully we'll be there. We try to post up the sessions for July. And as I said, it's going to be very, very limited because we need to give people an hour, 2 hours maximum. And we can't spend the whole week doing it. But it'll be bracketed into the small groups that they can time zone it, that are in it fully fresh to do. It's going to be time consuming and very heavy on us, but we can sort it out. And then by September session, hopefully some of you in the first session will be able to start the process of understanding how to transmute in a different way. But we still control everything. It's not that you're going to run away with it. But at least it gives you the process of understanding and doing it. And while we are there, you can attempt it and direct it, and we tell you what to do with it. And those of you going for the Iran conference, please go through the way we said. That's the only way we're going to accept. There's no use you going through and sending money or doing anything. Go register on the Keshe Foundation website. Get the code number where it tells you KF whatever. Send it as a donation. This is the reference. Nothing else. And then we accept it. Thank you very much for today, and see you next week.
Would you be able to get Jalal's hand in that just got jammed in at the last minute here?
We have to, don't we?
We know him as Jump In Jalal, so perhaps it's appropriate. Go ahead, Jalal. We can barely hear you.
Barely hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
A little bit better.
Okay. I think I know how to live 1,000 years now.
You think you know what?
I think I know how to live 1,000 years.
Congratulations.
I will ask Rick if he wants to jump with me. The way.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kite. We need to learn how to. We need to learn how to learn to need, and I think we're gonna live 1,000 years. Thank you very much, Mr. Kite.
Thank you very much, Jalal. It's good he didn't ask 3 questions. Thank you very much.
You are Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. See you next time.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here today and for all the great questions and for just your presence in our 542nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 13th, 2024. Our next public teaching workshop is the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, which is coming up on Tuesday, June 18th. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. And that'll be with members of the Universal Council and support members. And it's always a good show and a boost for the soul to attend that meeting. Okay, thank you, everyone. And we'll go out with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit music version, and we will see you in the next public teaching workshop. Oh, thanks to Jedi Simon for our background image today. And again, thanks to Mr. Keshe for all the hard work and teachings that he does for us. Okay, bye everyone.